Welcome to Sleepless in St. Canard, where Nostalgia replaces run cycles. I'm Kitty.
And I'm Ange.
We haven't slept
in 30 years.
This is a podcast about the 90s Disney cartoon Darkwing Duck, where we're all number 2 to Dr. Slug's superior supervillainy in today's episode, QUIVERWING QUACK. I always wanted to put the in front of it. It's just QUIVERWING QUACK, keeping it simple. I don't think this episode keeps it simple, but in a delightful way. They really just throw everything in, which is fun. I feel like I've watched a huge chunk of Darkwing Duck at this point. I couldn't tell you how many episodes. Quite a lot. And I'm surprised it took us this long to get to this one, because it's a pretty solid one. Any thoughts on QUIVERWING QUACK before we jump in?
Yeah, it's the episode that I like to describe as just a grown man attempts to murder a child for about 22 minutes.
I mean, you're not wrong. Also, he's not the first of the Fearsome Five to do so. I feel like Negaduck wanted to kill her live on air. Maybe it's all just the same child. Something about Goslin. They're like, you know what would get me some bad guy ratings? Killing that specific child.
She kind of puts herself in the way there. She's a convenient target because she always follows Darkwing into battle, and then they're just like, a hostage.
Yes, but we'll come back to that point, because Darkwing Duck amnesia always seems to kick in with our Caped Crusader, namely the Darkwing version. But anyway, if you would like to watch this episode, it is on Disney+. It is Season 1, Episode 61, and the little blurb is Goslin dons a mask and cape as the QUIVERWING QUACK. I did read that on the Disney Plus app, though, so I don't know if it says anything more grandiose, if you will, on the computer.
I was going to say that people who have never seen this episode, if they read that description, I don't think they really know what they'd be in for.
No, because you want to tell the people why? That wasn't a very good lead-in. It's a Negaduck episode.
It is indeed.
And boy howdy is it a Negaduck episode. He really shines as much as polished garbage can in this episode. We're gonna hop in here. Just like the episode kicks off, literally just hits the ground running as we start. Something has already happened. An entire episode worth of content has already happened. And Darkwing is chasing Negaduck, who has apparently trapped the entire St. Canard Police Department in lime jello.
Mm-hmm.
Why lime? That's the first question. Probably because it rhymes with crime. Is high up there, I would think. And is also sewage colored. But then another question is, how long did they all have to stand still to be encased in jello? Just imagine that would take a very long time.
I seem to recall that they all looked like they were in mid-movement when it happens, like when you see them. So it looks like it was very sudden and unexpected.
There is a complete cop car encased in a gelatinous cube of jello. You don't know how he did this, but he done did it. Darkwing is done trying to get him. Jumping from rooftop. There's a lot of rooftop action in this episode. But yeah, there's a lot of questions about the jello, but we don't get the answers, and that's okay. We don't need them. As the chase continues, they're throwing verbal barbs, in Negaduck's case, actual bombs, at Darkwing. In this opening sequence, this is where Negaduck uses a policeman in his patrol car encased in jello to, bounce as a trampoline. And then he just immediately suction cups to the side of a skyscraper and starts making his way up. And Darkwing, I think this episode is really good at showing that they're basically the same person, but, one's evil and one's not. Because literally Darkwing does the same exact thing that Negaduck does. It has the same exact suction cup thing that's to climb up the side of the building.
It's very spy versus spy.
Yes. So he's, they're just insulting each other as they do, their love language. But of course, Darkwing gets towards the top, and Negaduck has an entire safe up there that he drops on him. As the safe is falling, Darkwing cracks the safe and puts himself inside, which is smart, because then presumably he wouldn't die if it hits the ground, but it doesn't hit the ground, it hits the jello instead, and it flies all the way back up to the rooftop, where he then, swings the door open, and he goes, ha! And then Negaduck just shoves another bomb at him, slams the door shut, and goes, ha yourself. And then we're just seeing the safe fall back down again, but you hear a panicked Darkwing on the inside, like, keep messing up the combination to get out. Which I don't think you need to put the combination on the inside of a safe to open it. But I've never been trapped inside a safe before. I don't know. Presumably, you wouldn't be able to open it from the inside.
I don't know if they have like a, in case somebody gets trapped inside there, if they have kind of like a fail switch for that kind of thing.
That's how Jason Mendoza died.
Oh, it's true.
Rest in peace, Jason Mendoza. Go Jags from the Good Place. We learned our lesson that way. But anyway, Darkwing, you just kind of hear him mumbling inside. He can't get the door open in time, and then it explodes. Kind of just drunkenly staggers out of this safe and into an elevator that zips up to the rooftop, where Negaduck immediately throws another bomb at him. And the elevator doors close, and it explodes again. Rapid fire, like not even probably a minute into this episode yet. Negaduck literally just has a stockpile of bombs that he got on discount, apparently, that you have to figure is a 5-finger discount, or would it be 4-fingered?
Yes.
And Darkwing, he's throwing all these bombs at Darkwing, and Darkwing's juggling them. And Darkwing is just saying that he's acting out, like, oh, you're just mad that he's not public enemy number 1 anymore, and that's why he's doing all this.
You're obviously overreacting to no longer being public enemy number 1.
What? I have 2 number 1.
I'm not. I'll show you. Here, hold these a sec. See? Right behind Dr. Slug.
Dr. Slug. He couldn't slime his way out of a paper bag. Give me that. Number 2? That does it. This town is toast.
Oh, goody. I'll get the marmalade.
Wasn't Megavolt in 3rd as well?
I only focused on the top 2 spots, baby. I wasn't paying attention. But that does sound, that would sound good. We'll say that. And then 4th was probably, little Timmy Two Toes, who's a gangster that I just made up, who eats people with a giant lollipop and has a Tommy gun in the handle.
Totally canon.
Why 2 toes? Because he shot the wrist off. Okay, so he's so outraged by what he's just seen, and Darkwing takes them back. He's just juggling all these bombs again. And Negaduck is just raging. He has the most wanted list now, and he's just raging about the indignity of it all. And then he declares that St. Canard is toast. And then, on cue, Darkwing explodes. Negaduck will not take this lying down, and reveals a massive bomb that he had on the rooftop under a sheet.
The whole time. Nobody noticed.
The whole time. It's just been up there. That means that's been up there, probably with all the other bombs that he's been throwing at Darkwing, right next to this police station that he encased in Jell-O. So the cops really asleep on the job.
That's what Darkwing is for.
To explode in place of the populace. So he immediately lights this giant bomb and he stands on it. He's just standing on it, talking. He's not just going to blow himself up, too. It's a bit unclear on what he would do. I'm assuming he wouldn't actually blow himself up intentionally. But he's just standing there gloating until an arrow trims the fuse, and so it doesn't explode. And then another arrow knocks him off the big old bomb, and then a bunch more pin him to a wall. And we discover that the secret archer is Goslin, and she and Launchpad wander up on this rooftop. Sorry we're late. Well, that kind of jazz. She allegedly made Launchpad buy her the archery kit because it was half off. Just a day of deals for everyone. Darkwing tells her that she's not old enough to have a bow and arrow, and he grabs it away, scolding her. And then he turns on Launchpad and tells her that he's irresponsible, and I wonder if he's ever met Launchpad. Goslin says that if it wasn't for her, Negaduck wouldn't be stuck to the wall, and then we pan over and see that Negaduck is gone, but he's left all of his clothing behind.
All of it.
His hat and everything. The only thing he took was his mask. So now he's apparently streaking his way to being public enemy number 1. Public nudity would get him up there, maybe. But he's actually we see him immediately after that, and he's skulking through an alleyway in a giant barrel. And it's very silly. He's just kind of like waddling around with this barrel around him.
1992, did they have barrels just hanging around the city? Modesty barrels.
Well, the great pickle resurgence of 1991 made it so that you couldn't walk down any street without a barrel.
Good to know.
How are you supposed to shoot those fish?
Oh.
I don't believe I've ever encountered a barrel in the wild before, unless I was at a vineyard or something.
Same.
So, he finds the lone barrel in the wild, and he waddles off to his dastardly deeds. Later that evening, Goslin is telling Hunker about how cool she was, as if he doesn't already know, and he asks what Darkwing did, and she says that he yelled at her. Hunker says that maybe he was just worried about her safety, but she's not having it. She doesn't think even if she did something amazing that he'd recognize her as anything more than a baby, and that if she was someone else, he might appreciate her. Aha! What a bright idea that gives her! Then she immediately ropes Hunker in to whatever mysterious plan, wink wink, she has. More on that bright idea later. For now, we head to the pound. Negaduck is kicking in the door to the Oops All Doberman's pen and picks them all up in a giant dog pile that is really bigger than him. Just carrying this giant mass of Doberman dogs. And he chucks them into, I assume, a dog catching truck is what it looks like.
It does look like one.
And this is a moment where I think you should just put the audio in.
So, this city wants a public enemy? Shut up back there! Well, I'll show him who's numero uno. I said shut up! Stupid mutts! This ought to keep you quiet!
Because he's just doing his usual talking to himself thing, but he just keeps interrupting himself to yell at the dogs that are barking in the back of this truck.
I saw a YouTube edit of this a long time ago where somebody made it so that he was bleeping as if he was swearing, and all they did, like, they didn't add any extra things. They just, because he's yelling at them to shut up, so like they put the bleeps in at the right parts, and it just sounds like he's swearing nonstop at these dogs, and it was the funniest thing I had seen in a long time.
So I guess it does work, but it's just a typical Negaduck plan. To shut the dogs up, he crashes the car into a fire hydrant, and he just picks it up and puts it in the back where the dogs are, and they just go dead quiet. It's like, that also raises so many questions, but 0 answers are incoming. And I feel like I'm okay with the mystery of why those dogs go so quiet. I'm hoping that they're just sniffing it, and, well, they're probably sniffing it, and then they're just pissing off. But 0 answers to that question are incoming, as the Negaduck is taking the dogs to the museum for a field trip. Not really. To rip apart dinosaur bones is what he's really doing. This guy. He's trying very hard, and he's being very creative. So I feel like we don't know what Dr. Slug did to push the needle in his direction. But I'm pretty sure he didn't break dogs out of a pound to go destroy dinosaur fossils. We don't know what he did. We can't really say.
I do admire Negaduck's creativity. Lime jello, dinosaur bones.
Hey, if a dog is biting it, you try to tell him it's not theirs. Yeah, he really does. He kind of pulls out all the stops here. He always hooks up some creative things to do, like turning the little lost bunnies into gory film stars. But I digress. Today's crime. The dogs are immediately in heaven and just destroy these like fully built dinosaur fossils. So they're just piles of bones on the floor. But as they do this, there's just a jackhammer sound effect going on, which is pretty fun. So now that he's, pleased with himself here, he decides that it's time to go shin kicking at the convalescent home. And Darkwing shows up. I don't think we actually get an I'm a terror that flaps in the night in this. Moving too fast. Nobody slows down. Negaduck knows who he is. So yeah, Darkwing shows up and tells him to pick all the mess up. He calls him number 2.
Ooh.
And obviously Negaduck sticks the dogs on him. They almost get away a couple times. Like, they're pretending to be mummies, and then the dogs, pull on the toilet paper or whatever they've wrapped themselves in, and of course that doesn't work. And then they like jump on top of a totem pole. Anyway, obviously gets surrounded by the dogs because they're not getting away. And as Negaduck gloats, it starts to seem like it's chow time until another arrow whizzes by. This one has an air horn, like whistle thing, like an old factory whistle on it. And it starts whistling, obviously. And the dogs kind of back off. And then another arrow, which I assume has this on a string that it's pulling. A little unclear. I don't really remember visually what it looked like. All I know is that there's a toy cat on a skateboard that zips through the museum, and the dogs take off after it, and that's all we wrote about the dogs. They're still chasing it to this day. Rumor has it. Darkwing is impressed with whoever this is, and Negaduck preps another bomb to throw at the new hero on the scene. Immediately just see it's Gosalyn. But she is in a cute little outfit. You want to talk about her outfit? You want to break it down for the peoples?
A very classic Robin Hood-esque archery style outfit. I'm curious about how they came up with the color scheme, because I wouldn't really... it's baby blue, right? Mostly?
No, it's purple. It's purple and green. It's basically... She's just basically still kind of wearing, like, the big jersey, but instead of the 0, it has a Q. And then she's got the green cape with a maroon lining. She's got the Robin Hood looking hat with big pink feather on it. Got long purple gloves and like weird lumpy purple looking shoe thing.
Where did I get baby blue from? Am I thinking of, I think it was Boom Studios, like when we covered the Boom comics and they had QUIVERWING Duck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I'm remembering for some reason. It has overwritten because it was supposed to be based on Gosalyn's outfit. I just kind of defaulted. How darest I and my brain overwrite the canon here of the cartoon.
The real QUIVERWING. Yeah, she looks really cute. It's a really cute look for her.
It suits her.
She hops in with a buzzsaw at the end of her arrow and shoots it at Negaduck's bomb, which splits in half and blows him up. Launchpad, forever launchpadding, wonders who this new guy is, and Darkwing is like, that's Gosalyn. Come on. What are you talking about? She introduces herself as QUIVERWING QUACK, and then, like, she had shot, like, a rope in and, like, ziplined on it, kind of, and then Honker ziplines in and crashes onto Launchpad, and she introduces him as the Arrow Kid. And he's just in his normal clothes, basically. He's got, like, a little, same kind of, like, Robin Hoodie type collar on over his green shirt. He's got this big red helmet on with like an arrow top. He looks silly. He's always there. He tells us later that he doesn't want to be there, but he's there. He's essentially there to caddy her quiver full of arrows. Basically his entire job. Darkwing is like, what are you doing here? And she pretends to have no idea who he thinks she is. But that really just lasts for like a couple seconds because they're immediately bickering with each other again. In a callback gag, she mentions that she should be lucky that she's here because she's the one that stopped Negaduck. And then we pan over, instead of him not being there, he's very much there, but he's inside a giant tank. And he's just glaring down at them out of like the little popped tank, top of the tank. And it is a museum, so maybe he got the tank in the museum, or maybe he brought it with him. It's Negaduck. We'll never know. It's, the pocket space is real in that double-breasted coat. So, obviously, one half tank must fire, so he starts shooting the cannon at them, and Gosalyn is talking to her caddy about how she should use an arrow that has glue on it, but Darkwing grabs her and Honker and throws her to the relative safety of the inside of a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. And then he gets exploded and run over by the tank.
All right, Nega Slime, you've had it! I'm gonna need a lot of skin moisturizer after this case.
And a whole lot of Band-Aids, too.
Oh, no. I think I really hurt them this time. I love this job. I'd say one more shot ought to do it.
Then he's about to shoot him again with the cannon when Goslin actually gets to use her glue arrow. Stops him, and then she shoots a plunger at him for good measure, and it just kind of hits him on the beak and knocks him into the wall.
One of my favorite parts of this episode is just Negaduck running over him and then backing over him again with the tank. I think he does it a few times.
I thought he did it more than once, but he only does it once. But I thought that he kept going back and forth for a while.
Me too!
He runs over him initially, and then he backs up over them, and then he's gonna... Because it's Darkwing and Launchpad. He runs over with the tank.
And there's like a splat noise.
Yes, of course. Always gotta have a splat noise. And that's the day that Darkwing dies. And of course, every news reporter in the city is suddenly there to interview the amazing new hero. And Launchpad is watching this all go down. Goslin introduces herself as QUIVERWING QUACK, and this is my sidekick, the Arrow Kid. And Launchpad's like, you never introduced me to the press. Darkwing, always the glory hog, cuts in to set the record straight, basically trying to take all of the credit away from her and saying that she was there to help him out of a momentary difficulty, in which she retorts with the wonderful Christine Cavanaugh way of momentary difficulty? You mean like dying? And he smothers her so that he can't say anything else. He's just got like his arms wrapped around her head. And then he continues to try to take the credit for beating Negaduck, and the reporter calls him out like, oh, you heard it here first. Darkwing Duck trying to steal the credit from this child. And he's like, well, I was here first. You could just ask Negaduck. And of course, it is now revealed that Negaduck has run off again with his clothes this time. And then he's on the roof. He's on a roof somewhere. It could be the museum's roof. It could be any roof. Negaduck is just constantly on the roof. But he's just up there, clothed. It would be funny if he was up there just in another barrel. He's living the barrel life. But he's just decided that he needs to kill that kid. That becomes his single purpose for the rest of this episode.
A noble pursuit.
Kill that kid. So it's his plan to get to the top of the enemy list again, is to murder a child. That would work. Back at home, Darkwing can't escape the flood of glowing press about QUIVERWING QUACK. She's on every channel on the TV. Turns the TV off disgusted, and Goslin, still in her, QUIVERWING QUACK outfit, is sitting on the couch shoveling food in her face, and she's like, hey, I was watching that. He's like, oh, you watch too much TV. They're eating steak and peas, I think. And there's like a lot of weird little animation things going on here. I think Launchpad a line of peas down a knife into his mouth. There's some wild shit going on in this Mallard house. But anyway, so they're all just sitting around the TV talking about, superhero stuff. Launchpad and Honker are having a sidekick chat, and Honker says that he doesn't really want to be a sidekick. I don't really want to be a sidekick, but if I wouldn't, Goslin would kill me. Goslin is trying to tell Drake about her next TV appearance when he comes out of his sulk, because he's literally just like completely arms crossed, scowling to himself, sinking into the couch. Tells her that she's not allowed to go out as QUIVERWING again. Goslin's outraged, but Honker just looks so happy for a split moment. He's like, oh, thank God. But it is, Goslin pushes back. Kind of go at it for a little bit, but Darkwing, to his credit, does realize that he's being overprotective and concedes, and Honker'd stay as rude again. I feel like we'll get into it later. Eager to see if she's still on TV, Goslin turns the news back on, and there's breaking news of Negaduck's newest stepping stone to getting back his rightful crown. And he is in a monster truck.
Yeah!
Just fucking shit up.
Yeah!
He's just fucking shit up. Like Gravedigger. Specifically, what he's trying to do is there is a beloved pizza chain, apparently, called Pepe's Pizza. And it looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but just standing straight up, trying to make it lean, like he has a harpoon gun. I'm assuming he shoots the harpoon into the building and is trying to make it fall over, or at least make it lean.
Yes.
That's his big plan.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Goslin is ready to leave Darkwing behind, but then they both decide to go. And then you take the Thunder Quack, and then the Thunder Quack and the jet, the truck have a little bit of a tug of war, but the Thunder Quack wins Negaduck, completely unfazed and defying all, point A to point B, appears on the roof of Pepe's Pizza before, like, they even get out of the Thunderquack. And he's got this giant harpoon gun with him. He's like, I'm gonna take that jet down, and then they land on top of him as these things tend to happen. And they're all like, oh, where did he go? And they're like, oh, let's split up to look for him. And then as, like, they're like, oh, let's split up to look for Negaduck. Darkwing is laying it on, like, super thick and loud that he's her dad. And it's kind of surprising that Negaduck doesn't kind of latch onto that. But I guess doesn't care, which is also on brand. But as he's going on about how he's her dad, and to be careful, she wanders off grumbling, just as Negaduck is somehow not under the jet anymore and aims the harpoon at Darkwing and misses his shot. And Negaduck is just confounded. Here's another sound clip for you.
Did I cross a black cat today? I can't waste one sappy hero. I am protected by the spirit of justice. Right is on my side. Oh, please.
He kind of gags and throws himself off the roof. Which is so relatable. He's just like, bleh, and throws himself off of the side. He bounces off a flagpole on the side of this tower of pizza and lands on an adjacent roof. The Darkwing won't be upstage and tries to do the same thing. But by the time that he gets to that other roof, Negaduck has opened like a trap door type thing in the roof, and he just falls down into the building. And that's the second time Darkwing has died today. Rosalind and Hunker see this happen, so that she shoots like a rope arrow over there, so they start to tightrope walk over that way. She's like, I don't know the meaning of the word can. Hunker is giving her like the textbook definition of. Negaduck makes like he's on the Rainbow Road and throws a banana peel at them. Mm-hmm. And of course they slip on it, and then they're dangling from the rope over basically the entire city of St. Canard. Like, these children are about to die. They call for help, and Launchpad and Darkwing appear. All start climbing out onto this precarious rope like morons. Help them. And then, lo and behold, Negaduck is still by this one single rope. And he just plucks it like a guitar string, and then they all are dangling. And Darkwing is like, it's me you're after, let them all go. And Negaduck says, basically, I think you're underestimating how much I want to kill that child. And cuts the rope with a machete that he now has. This causes our heroes to swing into a commercial break of alleged doom. But they don't. They slam into the side of the Pepe's Pizza sign. And then Negaduck throws his machete, cutting the other side of the rope. Which, I'm glad they did that, because I'm like, they would just swing into the side of a building, and then they could climb the rope back up. But nope, Negaduck had murder on his mind. He thought of everything. As they're falling, Rosalind keeps trying to grab different arrows from her quiver, which Hunker has. But they keep, like, slipping out of her grip as they're falling. Thinking fast, Darkwing pulls his cape off and pumps it full of laughing gas, making it kind of like a big pocket of air, like the packing things that you get sometimes. It's like just a plastic bubble.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what he does. And so they fall on that and don't die, and then all the gas comes out, and it's laughing gas. They're just all giggling to themselves. Negaduck is annoyed but not deterred. He is in fact inspired. And there's a strange bit of animation here where he kind of like swings his arm forward, and there's his fist is really big.
The perspective.
And yeah, somebody really wanted to draw that twice, because then he kind of swings his arm back and does it again. And seems like a fetishy thing. But hey, whatever. Each their own. And we get a cool swipe cut of Negaduck, like, swishing his cape, and the scene changes back to Avian Way. Drake and Rosalind are doing what they do best and bickering about who was handling the fight better.
I was busy trying to save our lives.
You were busy being a heroism hog.
Okay, that's it. No more arrows, no more sidekick, no more Quiverwing Quack. I was right to begin with. You aren't old enough to handle being a hero.
Now go to your room.
Go to my room? See, you never treated me like a hero. You just treat me like your baby girl.
Because you are.
More of an emotional moment. I feel like that didn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah. If you forget 90% of this show, that Goslin is with them basically every time something happens, it would make sense that he doesn't want her to be a hero in the line of danger. But because she is basically around for all the other stuff, it's kind of like, oh, it's just the costume, huh? If we do have that amnesia, he's trying to be a very responsible dad.
And he's jealous.
And he's jealous. It can be two things.
Yes.
So my next note was, for once he's actually trying to protect her, but he is also a glory hog.
Yes. Accurate.
But I don't think he's wrong here. Now it's nighttime, and Honker comes to see Goslin, apparently because Herb and Binky just don't visit their son has been gone for like 3 consecutive days. But he's now checking on her in the nighttime. Goes to her room, and she's fully in costume, tying the bed sheets together to escape. And he's like, oh, but your dad said you can't. Like, oh, he said go to my room, but he didn't say stay. Tries to tell her that she can't fight Negaduck alone, and still obviously hurt about her argument with Drake. She tells him, she snaps at him, and, oh, just because I'm a baby. And so he can't stop her. She just shoots him with an arrow. And it's like an exploding net thing, so poor Honker is just tangled up in a net in her bedroom. Her climbs down the rope of bed sheets she's made for herself out the window. Downstairs, Launchpad and Drake are talking about the fight, and Launchpad is like, oh, I hate when you guys fight, and then he tells this big long story about something his dad said to him, which is a very poetic in a Launchpad kind of way. Basically summing up that you gotta let the baby bird fly type thing. And he ends it by telling him, well, because Drake is like, oh, your dad said that? And he's like, yeah, right before he kicked me out and told me to get a job. What is his dad's name? Remember?
Yes.
They're all in one episode.
Okay,
of
so
DuckTales.
his sister is Loopy. His mother, god damn it. I want to say Ramjet, but I could be wrong. Hang on. Ripcord McQuack.
Ripcord. Ripcord McQuack really ripped the Band-Aid off and just kicked Launchpad out. I assume when he was probably like 11.
Probably.
It's like, you're eating me out of house and home. Get the fuck out. So anyway, that's the adult bonding going on downstairs. It does get interrupted because Honker, wrapped up in this net, falls down the stairs. And then he tells them that Goslin has run off after Negaduck by herself. I don't think we see him again, and I really hope they cut him loose. And that at the end of this adventure, they just don't come home. Fine, poor Honker's still like tangled up at the bottom of their stairs.
Anyone?
Hello? So anyway, Negaduck, always diligent regardless of time of day, is hard at work hammering corks into every storm drain, water pipe, and gas main in the city, hoping to make the city explode. It's like the city, like the skyline of the city is kind of inflating, and deflating. It's kind of like, that means it's full of sewage and gas and water. I don't know. It seems like a bad time. Not a place I would want to be. So Negaduck is very proud of himself, and he's driving his motorcycle across the bridge. He gets snagged by QUIVERWING QUACK, now iconic Rope Arrow, and she starts talking her sass, and she immediately flies over the side of the bridge. It's like the easiest thing in the world to get her down, dangling over the water of the bay, and there she goes. And she's like, oh yeah, big deal, I can swim. And then a shark pops up and snaps its jaws around her, and she's dead.
It's like Negaduck knew there was going to be a shark down there. Did he put it there himself, like the Dobermans, or was it just there? We'll never know.
I wouldn't put it past him. He's just been feeding sharks into the bay every 3 days or so. It's part of the long con. But yeah, the shark, she gets out of the shark's jaws, and he's just like leaning on the railing, watching Goslin down there, just waiting for the shark to kill her, just having a grand old time. He's just locking in the #1 spot with child murder when Darkwing shows up. I mean, he doesn't really have far to go. because he's literally on the bridge. So Darkwing probably just like put his hat on and was like, what do I hear? Sharks? Oh no, Honker is here. Sorry. Launchpad and Honker are the ones who are actually saving the city because they're pulling the corks out of the pipes and stuff. Darkwing's Negaduck grabs Goslin before she's shark food again. Negaduck tries to do what he's done this entire episode up until this point. Tries to run away again, but he jumps on his motorcycle. And as he's about to drive away, Darkwing yells, "Thanks for that tip about the 2-for-1 sale." And we see that Negaduck's bike, like every single thing, every place you could put a bomb, there is a stack of bombs crammed in there. Like on the rat catcher, it's got like his bill. Like the bill for this bike is just completely crammed with like 8 bombs. And Negaduck looks at the camera and explodes. And he blasts off into the sky like Team Rocket. And that's it for him. He's gone. And presumably just basically gets away again. He's not arrested, he's not anything. He's just up there. Goslin and Drake have a bit of a sweet makeup session, hugging each other. And he tells her that someday she'll be a great hero. And she's like, oh, someday? Well, probably next month. I'll be a lot more mature by then. And she just kind of like starts rambling to herself as she's walking away. And Darkwing looks at the camera and rolls his eyes. And that's the end of our episode. It ends with Negaduck escaping again, the sidekick saving the city, and Darkwing not learning a single lesson. Just another night in St. Canard. Thoughts on the QUIVERWING QUACK?
I really like this episode. It's in my I would say my top favorites for so many reasons. Of course, as usual, Negaduck be Negaducking a lot in this episode.
Real hard.
Say. Yeah, like he really goes to some wild lengths, and that's always fun to see. And he's so creative. I can appreciate that, from the lime jello to the museum, attacking a pizza place just to make it lean to the side, or I guess maybe pull the whole damn thing down. It's good times with him. You never have a bad time with a Negaduck episode. And then we get some Goslin and Darkwing Duck, like that mix where they're almost like competing with each other a little bit, although it was more Darkwing competing with Goslin and being a little bit jealous. It's one of those episodes where you can see how they share some similarities in personality. You can see the comparison between Launchpad and Honker as sidekicks, and the way that Darkwing and Goslin are kind of like the more dominant half of this team. Yeah, it's fun all around. I do remember as a child not understanding all of the jokes. They made some, like, I want to say it was when Negaduck's inflating the city and they make a joke about inflation, and Darkwing says something about a fiduciary effect, and I just, as a child, that would have just, I was like, what?
Yeah. Launchpad's like, I've heard about inflation, but this is ridiculous, basically, and Darkwing is like, that's no
fiduciary
effect. That's Negaduck. Yeah. Something like that.
Overall, it's a great episode. I have no complaints. Solid all the way through. We get some nice emotional moments. We get some funny moments. We get some painfully violent moments. It's great. Oh, wait. No, except for one part, Negaduck gains fingernails for 2.5 seconds when he has that machete, and after he cuts the rope, he's picking his fingernails with the machete. It's kind of like giving them human feet. It's a little horrifying.
Mm-hmm. It is an image. I guess I blocked it out because I did not remember the fingernails. Know exactly what you mean, because you used that picture for a lot of things.
I was just about to say,
I have seen that picture.
It is an icon. I believe I turned it into a emoticon in one of my Discord servers so that it's a reaction image of just his fingernails.
As is tradition, but yeah. So what would you rate it?
I would give it 5 out of 5 Dobermans.
That's a good amount. That would really jackhammer a fossil for sure. 5 out of 5 police cars and lime jello cubes. Because even though he is a Muddlefoot, we can't factor in the Muddlefoot factor here, because my Muddlefoot factor is the extended family, not just Honker.
Understandable.
Oh, I do love Hunker. I feel like we haven't seen much of Hunker in a while in the episodes that we've watched, so it was nice to have him around.
Agreed.
He really just adds like an extra little layer of adorable to Team Darkwing. But yeah, peak Negaduck. Fantastic Negaduck. Darkwing is, again, he is doing the whole like glory hog thing, but I feel like, and if we forget all the other episodes of the show, he is trying to look out for her. Because it is dangerous, especially Negaduck of all villains, who's just thrown at least 39 bombs at him in 5 seconds. I don't want your kid going toe-to-toe with Negaduck. Although, she put him in his place quite well every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes you wonder. I could see QUIVERWING QUACK really sweeping the place with all these bad guys. Putting everybody out of a job.
I think she will be a very competent hero when the time is right.
Yeah. She'll have an ego on her, too. I don't think anybody can outdo Darkwing in that department. So there we go. We finished it. We finished the QUIVERWING... I keep wanting to put the... We finished QUIVERWING QUACK!
Yay!
And our wheel is nearly depleted. I can spin it now.
Yeah, spin that wheel.
Most likely. So, for those of you wondering or keeping track at home, we have 3 episodes left on the wheel. We have Mental, favorite episode, Star is Scorned, and Something Fishy. Let's see if the wheel will be kind tonight. Oh, it is Something Fishy. So we'll be checking in with Neptunia next time.
Woo! Also, for those who are confused, this is just the amount of episodes left that we had put on the wheel. There's still technically a few. I don't know how many episodes we have left total. We have to repopulate the wheel after we finish these last 3.
We do. We also have, I feel like we did this at the beginning when we populated the wheel the second time, because this is only the second run through with the wheel. We had Just Us Justice Ducks as in case of emergency.
Yes.
Which we didn't wind up needing. Maybe we could just do Justice Ducks as a farewell to this iteration of the wheel. And then we really should just kind of look and see what episodes we haven't watched.
Yes.
There are 91 episodes of the show, so there's probably a significant amount of them that we haven't watched, and I feel like we've cherry-picked a lot of the good ones out of them, so I'm kind of afraid. Like, we haven't watched any of Jambalaya Jake, and that frightens me.
He's coming. Oh, Lord, he's coming.
I don't want him to. Keep it to himself. And Gumbo. Right? Isn't Gumbo his alligator?
Yes.
Okay. So, we'll be talking about Neptunia and trying to stave off the impending doom of repopulating this wheel with nothing but Jambalaya Jake episodes. We haven't done any of the ladies yet either. Like, Isis Vanderchill or Camille Chameleon and the Bugmaster.
Splatter Phoenix. Yeah, we've got a few. And
Splatter Phoenix, right? Yeah.
And she's in a QUIVERWING QUACK episode.
Ah. Oh, okay. It's not all scary. We still have some decent ones left.
Yeah.
Okay. So until we repopulate the wheel, we will be chatting about the rest of these episodes that we have to watch, and in addition to the myriad of comics.
So many comics. So many comics.
But until next time, we'll be talking about some comic or another, and check in with you then. Great, this is a great outro. We should do them all this clean. But remember, that crime doesn't sleep.
And neither do we.